Hey, everybody. Check, check, check. You there, Steve?
We are good. We are live.
How's it going?
Not bad, man. Not bad. How are you? Thanks for having me on this beautiful Sunday afternoon / evening.
Right? No, it's been really nice out today. I spent a lot of it outside, so that's a great thing.
That's good.
The air is good. No matter what they tell you, air is good. Never try to impede yourself from breathing air is the way I see it. But that's just me. So, this is our third show. And this time, we're still kind of stuck in Luke. There's a lot in there. And we wanted to go over Luke 21 because Luke 21 is pretty fascinating. It's one of those chapters I talk about all the time. And for people that really don't read the Bible, it's interesting of how many chapters match up with things that are going on right now. And Luke 21 is a big one, don't you think?
Oh, you have. Once we get in there a little bit, it lines up dates, times, places, numbers, things. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. This is one of my favorite chapters for a reason. We'll get into this. So, and this was your suggestion, by the way. I was like, because I'm not really too like, if I'll read it and recognize it, I'm like, oh yeah, this is a great part here. But if someone's like, hey, look up Acts 24. I'm like, okay, I gotta go look this up because I don't know what's in Acts 24. And then I read Luke 21 like we're doing tonight, and I was like, right. Oh man, I got 3 verses in. I was like, oh yeah, this is the one. I texted you right back immediately. I'm like, yeah. I was like, this is good stuff. I've listened to it like 3 or 4 times today. It's amazing.
Well, see, that's the thing. It's like when I originally envisioned this, I was making a show and I was starting with Luke, and then when you and I decided to do this show together, it just fit perfect. Let's do Luke. And then you and I have done a couple chapters, but I keep reading. And so whenever I have well, I know. I'm cutting ahead. I don't want to spoil the ending. But I keep reading it, and then like this happened. So I read this one, I don't know how many days ago or something. And that's what I was like, this is really what I think we should discuss. So I'm not that guy that I can tell you what number and verse and stuff off the top of my head. But like you, I recognize them and I can recite what I've read and put it. And that's what this show is kind of about. Put it in terms that I understand and you understand. And then maybe it helps, help other people in the chat that are having trouble. Because especially if you read KJV, it's like learning another language. It literally is, it's difficult to get through if you're not used to it. Once you read it a lot, then you actually, it flows better. You don't have to look so many words up.
Yeah. But, and real quick, just for some people who maybe like, read the KJV, but don't really know exactly what's happening, or maybe you hear a word used like 2 or 3 different times, but like they're in different contexts. That just means you're going to have to just go like a Hebrew translation, throw her in and see which one of the translations, or Latin or, whatever one of the older texts and see if, with some of the context around, see if one of them fits in. And more than 98% of the time, I say the definition, the one you need is right there. It's like, oh, no bueno, or oh, bueno, There's the thing about the Bible. There's nothing really that's like, in the middle, because God doesn't like that lukewarm, It's either bueno or it's no.
Or no bueno. I like it. And the other thing, too, you can do, I originally I was just reading a actual Bible KJV, and then of course I started doing the apps and stuff, and it's fun because I can listen to it and then do things about the day. And I found myself starting to, if I'm not sure of something, you can look it up, which is usually what I do. But you can also, when you're on the app, you can switch it over to like new edition of something, or something more modern, and see what the take
or whatever.
Yeah, and then kind of it'll give you their take, and then you can kind of extrapolate what the old one is in a way. I know it can all be up for interpretation. The entire book is. That's the whole beauty of it. But there's some things in there that's some real hardcore things that seem to stay no matter what book you read and how much it's been gravelled or mandeled.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And in fact, there's I believe it's in this passage too, that there's some things that have been Mandela that we'll talk about too.
Perfect.
But yeah, so oh, and then and I told Steve I I put a bunch of photos into a folder because one of the things that is talked about during, say, the end times, which a lot of us seem to feel that that's kind of maybe where we find ourselves, signs in the sky, and of course that's one of the reasons that we feel that they do a lot of spraying and filling the sky with clouds and stuff to make that less accessible for us, because God promised it and they're trying to hide it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So,
another reason I speculate they spray is maybe this whole condensing theory that I've kind of talked about, me and Jen have talked about, Flat Earth British, that dude, he's talked about it, how like we're here, this is moving, but like the dome upstairs and downstairs, maybe it's like cycling in, or perhaps something like that, and they don't want us to see it's getting closer. Like I said,
I've talked about this too with, I think, Brian and stuff.
All I see is rainbows in the sky. You know what I'm saying?
What's that? I'm sorry.
It doesn't rain, and all I see are rainbows in the sky.
Yeah, totally. I got clouds and stuff in my pictures that are rainbows for no reason, and I've talked with Brian and a few other people, because we have a few times the stars look way closer when we've been able to see them, and a lot of everything just seems closer perspective wise. So it's just interesting.
I mean, like 5, 6, 7 years ago, you weren't getting videos of stars on your iPhones, and the cameras haven't gotten that much better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, you can, on a nice night, you can see some of these, like you can see Sirius with binoculars.
Oh yeah, you can see them all with binoculars. Not all of them, but you know what I'm saying. You can get a good view for sure, man. For sure, the stars, the signs in there are crazy. You got the imprisonment, the stars, the ones that are dancing, flaring up, different colors. Who knows?
Here, let me bring this larger here. See, I shot this with just a regular camera. I don't know if you can hear the audio, but there's nothing to hear, so
that's okay.
It's just like fuzz. But
you know what really freaked me out when someone took
dancing
they took still shots of these stars, and like there was faces in there, man. Like, that's interesting.
I remember you did a breakdown, I think, on one of your shows or with Jen, where there was some just creepy faces even, and I found some of that, I think, in some clouds and stuff too. It's weird.
Well, what freaks me out the most? I'm like, so if that looks like that, why do all the villains on kids' TV shows look like that as well? Like, have they been known this? That's not a coincidence.
Yeah.
Like the Joker with the big loopy smile. Like I literally have a photograph of that, and it's a star. It's mad. What you got here?
This was I shot from an airplane. I actually did a video on this a long time ago, and I just didn't understand it, because there's the white sun, and then some people said there was a reflection on the water, but there's two. There's a distinctly two yellow lights here, and even if this entire thing is a reflection somehow, how does a white thing through atmosphere change to yellow in that space? It just seems
or vice versa, yellow to white. Like maybe it's just another layer of cloud, someone could say, but that's interesting. Yeah. Send me that. Try to send me that through email one of these days. That's interesting. Yeah, no, I used to do a lot of sun work back in the day.
And I shot this moon. I don't think I can make that any larger. It's a video.
Isn't it interesting how you could see the dark side of it?
That's what I thought was neat.
Day you could see right through it. It's not even there. You could see clouds and stars behind it.
But this one, you can see the entire back cap of it too.
At night, it's right there.
So there's that, and then this was daytime. Now tell me about this. The sun is setting over here, so if you go in a straight line, you end up there. But the moon's up there. And so how's the light coming up this way? Right? Wouldn't, if that's science, say the sun's here? But no, the sun's not up here.
You gotta love science.
Sun's way down there. It's okay.
You know, they're going to say, well, we're all the way down here. The sun's way over here. The moon's just a little below it, 400 times the further distance away.
Yeah.
Refraction, reflection, you know?
And I didn't even show all the chemtrail ones I have. These
Look at that. That looks like a painting, buddy.
I know. And this cloud was not there 20 minutes before I was shooting. And it just like appeared, like somehow it snuck in underneath here. And then whatever this soup was covered most of the sky.
Look at that. It looks like a DNA strand in the middle.
And then this one I use in my opening because I just mesmerized us. It looked like an entire mountain range up in the sky.
That's what I was
with
looking
snow.
at. Isn't that crazy?
This was in the sky, and then whatever's going on over here. I shot so much video on this. We just were their mouths open the whole time because it looked like looked like you were looking at a mountain range up in the sky. It's crazy.
Maybe we are.
Yeah, well, I've seen those ones where if you've seen the ones where they have looks like cities in the sky. I think some have been over Japan or something like that. And you know, like you say, we never know if someone's video is real or not. Well, I shot this, so there's that.
Are you real?
That's true. Yeah. Well, the CIA sent this to me, and they told me to say it was real. Okay, look at this. I shot this one. That's a cool sunset. And you have to have the bird go by. David Weiss says that. Don't they at every like NASA launch? I think they always have a bird.
Damn.
Was it 93,000 miles away?
93,000?
Somewhat, or a million around, right? I think they're a million miles away.
And honestly, like if they're going to try to pull their whole space thing off, 93 million miles in space isn't even that far.
Right?
You know, like that doesn't even seem realistic. But hey, you know, whatever.
This was interesting because you had white clouds down here and then these real colorful ones up here. And then this one just had a line. So that's cool. Just a negative space, like the seams opening.
The clouds are so trippy, man. They've always
aren't they? It looked like, you know, Google Maps where the line is for the map or something. You
know what I do? I'll get on like a peak of a hill or a mountain and just park there and look at the clouds in the distance, and I can't tell if any of them are even moving. I'm like, is this just a still shot?
Right? Like this is a movie.
Go by.
Yeah. And then tell me whatever the heck this is.
Yeah.
It's just a natural cloud formation. I'm sure NASA has a name for it. When I was a kid, there was like 3. Now there's like 30 because of all this nonsense.
You know what's interesting too is like you'll see 2 different jets go by, you know, that are actively spraying, and it's 2 different combinations. One makes like an X, one makes like a DNA type of deal. One just spreads and has all the lines in there. They have different motions for different days, different times of the year. When it's windy, they spray, but high atmosphere. They don't do that low atmosphere shit like they do all
it's funny that you just said that because this video right here that came up, 2 planes went by and sprayed something. And then after they left, all of these were the lines. See, there's one plane and this is the other one. And then all of this just hung in the air. This, again, was from an airplane I was sitting in. And just look at that. I mean, this stuff here in the front is the window. It's the best I could do. But, yeah, these 2 planes went by, and black stuff came out, not white like we normally see.
Interesting.
So I don't know what all this is dropping down.
That's what I tell people. I'm like, the clouds are literally falling. They're like, no, they just look like that. I'm like, no, it's actually falling, and we're just seeing it in real time.
Yeah. This is no bueno, as Steve says.
So what you got some frequent flyer miles or something?
This is a bunch of things saved up in my traveling and days and stuff. But yeah, that was
people just give you crap for that. Like,
whoops,
he's a millionaire.
Right? Yeah, I have an island. Look here's your rainbow cloud. Right?
Look at the studio. You know,
like what is the point of? How does that happen?
What is that? Acrylic? Wow.
I don't know. The sun was right behind it and lit that thing up like a rainbow.
And you know, of course, what's funny? You know,
this is the camera. Yeah.
The cloud has to be right there, right then, because there's no other clouds around it to block out that awesome white sun.
Right. And guess what? This cloud stayed with it. It's
The
weird.
whole
It's like,
time, right?
yeah, like it's sucked
Mhm.
into it or something. Look at that.
Wow.
Now, this is the lens flare, of course.
Yeah, I got plenty of
Oh,
those.
now there's a lens flare. But
Oh,
see,
yeah.
the sun's popping through there. But yeah, rainbows just everywhere for no reasons. This was the day it was completely purple. I still don't understand why everyone didn't freak the heck out, but it went on for 20 minutes. I have not adjusted any color on this. This is the way it exactly looked. And no one cared. No one talked about it. I've talked about it on multiple streams, but the rest of the world just went on its day. Like, oh, that's cool. What an interesting sunset. Everything went purple. So that was that, and I think that's all those. I did have one other that I didn't see that, but yeah, he says to look for that stuff. Signs in the sky.
And real quick, just to add real quick, at least me personally, the oldest conspiratorial patent that I could find relates to exactly what we were just showing there. Manipulation of the weather. Actively putting signs in the sun, moon, and stars. And the weirdest thing is that the oldest application went all the way back to 1811. That's just 1 year after, or 1 year before. I think, maybe you think it too, maybe some people in the chat think it too. Something happened, maybe that was the beginning of the short season where the man downstairs comes back, maybe it was the end all here all. I don't know.
It's interesting. You just probably everyone's already done this, but for me, it just happened. So 1811, there's your 911 coding, and the next year is when everything popped off, or that year, somewhere right in there, it popped off.
Someone in the chat that said that.
Maybe it was September that it popped off of that year.
It could have been. I mean, it's just
look
crazy.
What just happened. You know what? I forgot my tea. Tell the chat what just happened with Hurricane Ida. That's happening right now, and I'll be right back. 2 seconds.
Okay, yeah, you got this hurricane that's I don't know exactly how hard it's hitting, but it seems like it's wreaking some havoc in a specific location. New Orleans. We all know what happened there in 2005. Hurricane Katrina went. Does anyone know what day that hit? That hit today. Today. All those years ago. 16 years ago. 1/6. Isn't that a little strange? I think it's very strange. When Ceiling Fan gets back from getting his tea, he'll tell you how strange it is too, because it's very, very interesting. And we're going to get into Luke 21 and around verses 24 and 25. That's it's going to be another weather manipulation thing, dude. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Yeah, I bet the gematria, and it's wild, but I haven't had time to check that out. But how crazy is that, man? I just told them. Just a coincidence. Just like how remember when Hurricane Harvey hit? We're gonna talk about that in a little bit, but what was it? 11 years and 9 months to the date, someone released some hurricane movie that hit exactly where it hit. That's crazy.
Right? I know what you mean. I remember.
11 years, 9 months, for real? And that storm ended up, it's actually in this Bible verse that we're going to get into in this chapter. So
perfect. All right. Well,
Harvey is in there.
We should start breaking it down. But one more other thing I wanted to mention. I know people and people in the chat, Rose and Jason also are right in the area of that storm. So just, this is a Bible study, sort of a prayer group, and I just want to say, Father, please watch over everyone in that area and do what can be done to make it as very minimal damage there as possible, if any. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So, all right,
do what you do best.
Let's. All right. That's what I keep saying. That when I realize that we look at it wrong. We're fixated on the third of fallen angels and the oligarchs, the owners, whatever you want to call them, that are, the ones attacking us. And we forget 2/3 are still hanging out with God, just waiting to be used. And the way we use them is prayer. So that's like our most powerful tool that we forget to use. So we need to use it. So, all right. Let's see. You got it. Let's add the stream. All right.
Got it up. So
everybody doing good in the chat? Nice to see you.
The chat's loving it. Chat's going in. The chat they want to go to your island.
Okay.
Field trip.
Field trip. Yeah, we'll have to do a live. Everyone come to the island. Yeah. Okay.
What was that show from when I was a kid? The Magic School Bus. That's what we'll do. Take a Magic School Bus ride.
And you know what's interesting about that? I came across that on the internet the other day, and I looked at it because my kids used to watch that. Talk about indoctrination. I mean, like dinosaurs and space and everything. It's so
going
evil.
On a trip in our favorite rocket ship.
It's just evil. It's so bad.
Well, it's like you ever see that show Big Bang Theory? I know a couple people that are, they love that show, and you just watch the intro to that show, and it's literally just like an MK Ultra. The whole thing. It's just flashing images of events that never happened. There's a Freemason pyramid. It's awesome, It
has to be a spell because offense to anyone that really liked that show. I hate to offend anyone on my show, but I never understood that show. My wife never understood. We couldn't. What was so funny about it? And it was the #1 show. We couldn't watch 5 minutes of it. I saw the intro and I couldn't take it. I had to change it. So I don't understand how it got so popular, other than they wanted it popular and for that intro, maybe.
It forced it, made it stick. Oh, the intro, it reiterates scientism,
maybe it's like Hypnotoad. It made them want to watch it.
All of them. It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Right? The intros like Hypnotoad from Futurama's just make you watch the show, and then it became #1. No,
literally. Just puts you in a trance for 30 minutes, and then the show ends, and you're like, I don't know what just happened.
And hopefully in the chat you realize that my partner here has a halo over his head, so this should be a really good episode.
You hear the harmonics,
That's right.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Right. So I'm on the other screen now. So you ready to go?
Yep, let's rock. We'll see.
All right. So just to reiterate, we got Luke chapter 21, and we're just gonna coast through it, guys, and we'll just interject here and there. There's some key awesome points in here, and we'll hopefully we'll knock it out of the park without offending God, because this is His book. So let's try.
Yeah, right.
I'll offend you all day, but let's not try to upset anyone upstairs.
Right. That's what I always say. I have 2 people to make happy now. God and my wife, and if they're both happy, then I'm happy. Everything's fine.
And there it is, Words of a prophet right there.
Isn't that funny? Think about it. Like, whatever the heck, it was hard for me to think that you and I are like saints, because the definition is just somebody that speaks the word of God, basically, in a godless society. And so, but in the day, we think back. There's Saint Peter and Saint Matthew.
Hey, bro, I'm like, these guys are
right,
and I'm like, I'm just a piece of crap. Like, come
on. Exactly. And then, but unfortunately, who do our chat have to like? They don't have Saint Michael or anything. They got Steve JMO, Ceiling Fan Man, Truth Seeker 69. It's like all these handles that are hilarious. RV Truth, you know what I mean?
Oh man,
see some statue somewhere
from Boston,
right? Richie from Boston, right? And somewhere there's going to be a statue of Russian Vids, but it's going to be of the guy from the movie. What's that? The wrestler? Because it's not.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny? I just had this thought real quick. Like we're like, hopefully all goes well. We all get to heaven, and then we're all just kind of waiting around. Then Richie comes out of the room. He's like, he's pissed, guys. Like, like he's pissed. It's like,
and Richie would go in first.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He just comes out shaking his head like he's pissed, guys. Watch out.
You guys, yeah.
Right. He sent me in first to fire him up for you. So.
Oh shit! And you'll be sitting there going, "Oh man, that's no bueno."
Right. And I hear my name called through the the intercom that's not even there. It's like, all right.
Right.
Oh boy. All right, so. Let's just get into this. All right,
let's do this.
All right, I'm gonna hit play. I don't have the earphones in because I don't have the air on. But if it starts like not doing well, just let me know and I'll throw them in. All right.
Yeah.
Chapter 21. And he looked up and saw the rich men casting their gifts into the treasury. And he saw also a certain poor widow casting in thither 2 mites. And he said, Of a truth I say unto you that this poor widow hath cast in more than they all. For all these have of their abundance cast in unto the offerings of God. But she of her penury hath cast in all the living that she had.
So,
and as some spake of the temple.
So on that one, it's pretty easy. That one's pretty straightforward. But it reminds me going all the way back to Cain and Abel, because when they gave offerings to God, Abel was the guy with the cows, and so he gave him his best one, and Cain was, of course, the vegetarian. He didn't give God his best. He gave him like the leftovers of the stuff that wasn't as good, and as his offering. And the reason I even know that story is actually missing in the Bible. I think that one's in Enoch, or one of the ones, the missing text that they found.
Yes, it's in the beginning.
Yeah. Because I always when I first read it, I'm like, well, why did God not like his offering? And it's because he only gave like the extras. He didn't really give from his heart like Abel did. And it's the same thing they're describing here. This woman comes in and gives every last dime. That's huge to her. The rest of the people, they're just giving any extra that they had, and they didn't even notice it.
Much more than that, yeah.
Yeah. So that's why he says it's easier for anyone but a rich man to get into the kingdom of heaven. It's very difficult because of that.
Right. Sorry. But because I mean, like, imagine going up to a rich man, like, oh, you got to give up all your belongings and, start from scratch, because you're not doing this right. Or walking up to someone who has virtually nothing and then telling them it's time to start over. This is the way. Who do you think is going to listen? Who do you think is going to, they give everything up? Like, oh, sure, I got an iPhone and $10. See ya, sounds good.
I don't remember if it's in this, but just prior to this, that exact thing happened in Luke, where a rich guy, he went up to Jesus, and the
story.
Yeah, and the thing is, it says that he was super rich, but he wasn't. He didn't have power. He didn't have political power, kind of thing.
Yeah,
and so he couldn't get in the front to see him, and so he climbed up on a tree to try to see him. I think it's a tree. And Jesus spotted him, and he told him to come down. And he said, can you tell me? He says, I give all the time. I do all these things. He was doing all the right things. And then he said, so, how do I make sure I get in the kingdom of heaven? And he says, well, sell everything you have and follow me. And he's yeah, I'll think about it. I'll see you. Good night. And he leaves, and then so it's like, it's really difficult when you're that, when you've had the love of money that they teach in this world all the way back then. But that's hardcore. Like, seriously, you're standing next to Jesus. Who wouldn't have one of us want that opportunity? That guy was right there. And he's like, hey, drop everything, come with me, like he did with, the fishermen and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, hard pass. I'll see you later.
Right. It's like, I'm good, actually.
Yeah.
Good looks, Jesus, but next time
good looks.
Next tour,
Yeah. I'll catch you on the next tour. You got a shirt though, Jesus tour. What is it? Year 1? Is it?
Yeah.
What would be?
Oh boy, that's messed up.
Oh, I know. Well, that's what they threw the tables around when he got there, right? Because they were doing that kind of stuff.
Well, see, now I'm trying to think. Is that the same story where he was? Because there was one story where it's kind of like that, where this one.
Did I mix them up?
No. I think you're good, but I'm just trying to think of at the beginning of that story. Was that the one where the kid's like, "Hey, good master," and Jesus like, "I have no clue who you're talking about." Is that? I think that's a different one, actually.
Yeah, I know what you mean, though.
That one's in one or two of the Gospels, but yeah.
Well, because he also talks about at some point, when you're going up there to meet him, and he might just say, and you go, "Hey, Jesus, it's me," and he's like, "I don't know you." get out of here because I never met you.
Well,
You
no,
know?
no. This was like
Is that what you mean?
this was like a reverse of this. Some dude was trying to, walking up to Jesus, and he's like, "Hey," like calling him like good master, like what's up? Like that's what he called him. Like I said to me, like, "Hey, what's up, Rich?" He said, "Hey, hey, good master." And Jesus was looking around. He's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." It's like there's no good men here on earth except for God in heaven.
That's cool. I like it.
I see. That's why I don't think it's the story we were just talking about. But there's a similar story where it has a good ending, where the kid like sticks around and gives all his belongings to the poor, and he's like, "Yeah, cool,"
Well, there's so many books that overlap and go over the same subject.
It's in one or two of the Gospels, so they all have similar lining up stories. They're all firsthand accounts of Jesus's life. Why wouldn't there be similar stories?
Right.
If there was, that'd be an issue.
All right, let's roll.
All right, let's hit them. I think we were right there.
Adorned with goodly stones and gifts.
Bring it back.
And as some spake of the temple, how it was adorned with goodly stones and gifts, he said, As for these things which ye behold, the days will come in the which there shall not be left one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down.
Yeah, I got something about that.
Throw it down.
So that goes right along with what your partner Jen talks about. So let's say, I mean, this is all just our theories, but let's say that this temple had gold, like most of them did, the Antiquitech, whatever. They had gold domes and all these things, and it was littered with gold and gemstones. So when Jesus says that there's not going to be a stone that's not crushed, and in another passage he says pulverized, is because I think they went through it to get all of the riches out of it. And so when they conquered it and they crashed it down, that's what I believe they took it and turned it to dust, which fulfilled the prophecy that Jesus said it was going to happen. But I think they did it not because we want to fulfill prophecy, because I think they were treasure seeking. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I mean, the Holy Spirit works in funny ways, in mysterious ways. So why wouldn't someone doing that, start prophecy? That's God's sense of humor, in my opinion.
I agree.
Like, oh, you think you're trying to do this? See what you look what you just popped off in your backyard. Oh, the apocalypse around the world. Good job, buddy.
Yeah.
So I could see that being a scenario for sure. And like you said, he mentions pulverize. Something being pulverized. Yeah. That's nuts. You know what that means? That means what we saw in Beirut. Jesus knew about that. How's that possible? That didn't happen till now. That was pulverizing. That was pulverization to the max. It made a steel building turn to dust. And then you go out and, the deserts near Sodom and Gomorrah. And honestly, all the deserts, all these quote unquote canyons with doors in them for some reason and windows, they got pulverized. Something happened, especially in the Middle East. Something big happened. I don't think all that sand was there before. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was showing you that video that they were claiming there was
found a whole
couple miles beneath the I don't know where
a forest
sand or something. Yeah, forest underneath the desert. Yeah, isn't that nuts?
Yeah, and interesting enough, this is something that's been bothering me. I watch this guy on YouTube. I don't know how many B's there are, but it's Mr. B 33, something like that. Anyways, he does photos and stuff that people send in, and he covers weather. And he was what were you just mentioning before that? You were just because I was going to something that he covered. What were you just talking about? Come on, it just came out of your mouth. What were you saying?
Wow.
Come on, chat, help us out, shit. Because there was something I was going to mention that he covered.
Pulverizing.
Oh, the sand. Thank you. Yes.
Sand.
So for the first time ever in my life, I've never heard of this. There's Sahara Desert sand that's all across the world, and it's hitting the United States in different areas.
Someone told me that too last week. That's funny.
So two things about that. he mentions that wherever there's the sand, hurricanes can pop up. And so it's almost like maybe the sand is somehow counteracting whatever the weather manipulations of the hurricanes and the tornadoes. I don't know. But whatever it is, now you've got sand that's moving across. So I can totally see how sand could have come from somewhere and covered up that one forest with enough time or enough sand, because we've got a ton of it flying around right now as we speak. So that's very possible, I guess, that could have happened if enough of it flew at once, covered the whole area. So where did it come from? The sea, I guess, right?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Everything's upside down anymore. I don't know where anything starts and stops anymore. I mean, the whole water system of the earth. I mean, the earth is a living thing. And so like everything actually connects all the waterways. It's like the lifeblood of the earth, and it pulses. And because even what is this? At lakes, they still have like a tide to them and stuff, and it's just interesting.
Yeah, it's all part of that, like that whole like Fibonacci double what's the double torus field action we got going on, And
well, like us, you got the blood. So what if the water is like the blood for the trees, and then they expel oxygen through their lungs, and the tree thing looks just like the inside of a human lung. I mean, it's just pretty wild.
Same thing, yeah, absolutely.
And Jen told me last night, if you look at a walnut, it looks like a skull, and you crack it open, it looks like a brain. It's supposed to be good for your brain.
There you go.
He's got a sense of humor, right?
That's funny. No, he does. He does. He always wins when it comes to like who can make you laugh harder. He'll make you laugh. You might not laugh, but he'll be laughing. All right. Where are we? We here? We were one over everywhere.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right.
And they asked him, saying, Master, but when shall these things be, and what sign will there be when these things shall come to pass? And he said, Take heed that ye be not deceived. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ. And the time draweth near. Go ye not therefore after them. But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified. For these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by.
All right.
So let's just bring it back to one more, I think. Yeah. So where were we? Blah, blah, blah. Take heed, deceive. Yeah. So then he came, saying, I am the Christ. So yeah, we've actually had a couple of situations like this happen, not just like on a worldwide scale, but like on a in the truth community. So this is
really
this is all come to pass, man. Yeah. I mean, say what you want, but everyone's best friend, David Icke, he proclaimed, way back when, before people really knew who he was,
I didn't know that. He said he was Christ.
Look into that, man. Yeah.
Wow.
The video's not really around anymore, but I'm sure like maybe in the archives, like on RV's channel, he might have something, but yeah, man, he's no bueno. And then there was some other dude back in the day, Stephen Christ something, or I don't know. There's a bunch of weird people with the like proclaiming like, they knew the way, or even if they're not proclaiming to be Christ, if they're saying they have a different way that isn't Christ related, that still qualifies as blasphemy or deception or being deceived, in my opinion, for sure.
Yeah, and there was that one guy that I used to watch a lot, Jonathan Kleck, and he's the one that woke everyone up to like the dollar bill pre-predicted 9/11 stuff, and now there's something else. There's like some giant water thing supposed to crash through. I don't know, but in any case, and then he did a whole breakdown on this real creepy stuff that I actually had seen and had photos of the Vatican, these statues and stuff, and so he had a lot of really good information. But then he went down this rabbit hole where he started predicting like things like raptures and end of the world and Jesus and all that stuff. And again, he specifically says, don't listen to that stuff. So I just kind of tuned him out. But that's the thing. It's like you could be listening to someone and they kind of got you somewhere. A lot of people were into Alex Jones. I never was. He's supposed to be a gatekeeper, but he gets some people there and then they move on from there. So the key is, once again, our free will. You have to use your discernment and say, okay, some of that information was good, but from here on out, I got to do another thing,
Absolutely. When it rolls into 21:9 here, you should hear of wars and commotions. That's what are we hearing about right now? What are they just brought back into the existence of the media? This artificial reality. They brought back the whole, that specific area that's just northeast of Africa. You know what I'm saying?
I forgot to show something.
I don't know if we can talk about that area. I don't know what if they're a protected group of people yet, but yeah.
Here, I'll show you this.
Like that's all back.
Here,
and the funny thing is, you got the Trumpers that are like, "Oh, see, the Democrats are in cahoots." Blah blah blah. It's just like, no, bro. It's much deeper than that.
Can you see that, or is it?
Yeah, bro. They were on like 60 Minutes or something. So, what?
So this is an official photo of a Taliban guy. There was an article.
Dude in Texas.
Rasta Bear sent me this. It was an honest to goodness article from, I forget who it was, Newsweek or whatever.
Yeah.
And this was one of the photos in it to scare you. And it just, I don't know, it just makes us laugh. It made me think of like him actually, of a Ben Stiller movie or something. I don't know. There's just like, it's so comedic. That's the boogeyman now. The virus thing didn't catch well enough. It did great damage. Don't get you wrong, but now they need something else. So now they got these guys literally doing this. So anyways, I just had to bring that up because you were discussing it. Oh, did I kill your screen share? There we go. But yeah, isn't that something? It's not even something we even have to try to break down because it's all right there in our lives. Wars are going on, and well, you'll read it. We'll keep going, and you'll see everything just show up in this chapter.
Incredible stuff, huh?
Then said he unto them, Nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And great earthquakes shall be in divers places, and famines and pestilences, and fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven.
Okay, stop for a second. So, thanks. Sometimes you'd stop and I didn't even need to say it. But yeah, of course that one we've got going, but the next page there, where to go? Yeah, earthquakes. We just had another one. Where was it? In Haiti? Just another huge earthquake. There's been so many earthquakes.
There was another big one in Alaska.
Hang on.
No, you're good. It's absolutely crazy, man. And,
where was that one? Alaska,
and then all last year and the year before, there was earthquakes. You wouldn't even believe it, man. Like I had to download an earthquake app, because that shit was, that stuff was popping, like, oh my gosh.
And then of course
in random places too, man.
Diverse places.
No fault lines. They had that one in like Tennessee or something, like what?
Yeah.
What? No.
And then famines, we've seen that is going on. We've seen that.
Yeah, there is no famine, but they're making famines.
Correct.
If you feel what I'm saying,
Well, and that's the other thing too. Regardless of if prophecy's being fulfilled or they're fulfilling it to make it sound like it is, either way, it's being fulfilled again.
Yeah, they're forcing the hand.
Yeah. It's either happened once before and they're mimicking it, or this is it. Either way, they're making this book come alive. That's why it's so important to check it out. So, and then pestilence. I mean, do we even have to discuss what's going on in the world right now? Whether it's real or not, it doesn't matter. The fact that it exists, because whatever people believe in this bug or not, what's happening to the world is real consequences from it. So it is a pestilence, whether it's, and one other thing, and I'll let you talk real quick. This is one of the Mandela effect changes, that it went from deadly pestilence to noisome. And that would make sense in the world we live in. A lot of us believe that the only place you see any of these sicknesses and deaths is on the televised vision, which is noise. So it would take a deadly pestilence and turn it into noisome. So I could see that. So, and then go ahead. Sorry.
No, that rolls into the fearful sights too. If it's all coming from the television, and because like I said, there's no famines, everything's fine. But you have the FDA and rule makers, we'll call them, stepping in and making people ruin their stuff, or they oh, the truck's not coming. Sorry, it's like, well, I got a stockpile of X, Y, and Z. Well, it's all gonna go bad. Sorry, do you get reimbursed? No, like that's what they're doing, and also pestilence. Not just the phony, rony, baloney stuff, but pestilence is also the name of the first horseman. So could that be specific? I don't know. I don't think so, seeing as it's in with all these other things, but it could be. So always something just to keep on the shelf.
And I apologize to chat. I haven't been keeping up. So hi.
I'm on the other page. Yeah, my bad too, guys.
That's okay. And so the question about the Bible. So here's the way, at least this is the way we're running this show. We're trying to just break down what we see in the Bible. The Bible is very interpretive. That's the way it was written. I know it's been grabbled. I know it's been Mandela effect, but the God I believe in, he can still get his message through. There is a day that he says that you won't be able to see it. There'll be a famine in the land of the word. And so for some reason, we won't have them available. And then there's a point where you won't even need them because everything will be written on your heart. So what we're trying to do is what our ideas are, not breaking down any religious, because I'm not religious and neither is Steve. And so we're not bringing any religious dogma to this. We're just bringing you our interpretation for what we feel in our heart. Wouldn't you agree, Steve?
Absolutely. It's called the perspective,
Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully you'll be here and everyone can enjoy it. And if you don't like what you're hearing, you're welcome to shop around other channels. But this is all we're doing. And hopefully it'll be fun. So go ahead. Let's keep going.
I think we've been knocking this, dude. I've enjoyed this.
I agree.
All right. Well, let's keep the ball rolling then, shall we?
But before all these, they shall lay their hands on you and persecute you, delivering you up to the synagogues and into prisons, being brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake. And it shall turn to you for a testimony. Settle it therefore in your hearts, not to meditate before what ye shall answer.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just going to stop there real quick because, these are pretty, straightforward. But, see, this is interesting because it says this is supposed to happen before all of this. Mm-hmm. But a couple of these things has happened. But,
well, this stuff hasn't.
I live in America. I live in America. But in many other places around the world, if you're a Christian, they will persecute you. They will deliver you up into the prisons, into the rulers, It's ridiculous. There's places in China where they have underground churches, allegedly.
This would have that stuff just had to have happened between the time that he left and now. So yeah, that could have been constantly.
It's still going to happen. It just hasn't happened full on here yet, which it will. But
the persecutions and all that stuff, that's happening now. It's been going on. People get, like you said, killed all the time for that.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. And this is interesting too. I always thought,
Yeah. Well, this goes to that faith.
Don't even sit there and, don't even think about what you're going to say. Don't even tread on it. Just, pray, have faith, ask for wisdom, ask for strength. And just keep repeating those and you should be all right, And once you get up there, honestly, I've had stuff like that happen. Honestly, I've gone into shows where I've just wanted to do a show. I have no real content. And I'll just, say a couple of hard prayers throughout the day, some good hard prayers. And, 5-6 hours later, it's I don't know where any of that came from. And it's good. It's good stuff. So it works. All right. You got anything you want to add on or?
No.
All right, cool.
Or in your hearts, not to meditate before what ye shall answer. For I will give you a mouth and wisdom, which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist.
Mm.
And ye shall be betrayed, both
Oh,
by
wait. Go
parents
back to
and-
that last part. See, that's the cool thing. That's the
Yeah,
whole faith thing.
He's gonna put the Holy Spirit's gonna fill you up with just straight facts.
Right. Yeah,
Irrefutable facts.
that goes to the same thing when he talks about with the birds, and like birds have such faith that every day they go out knowing they're going to find food, and if God takes care of the birds,
Right,
and the numbers on your head are numbered, or hairs are on your head are numbered, what makes you think he wouldn't take care of you? And so it goes along with this same thing. If it comes to those days where maybe some of us will be persecuted and taken away because of our belief in God and in Christ, then he tells you, don't fear, don't worry,
I
because
would
when
take
that
that as a
happens,
good thing, honestly. It'd
what's
be
that?
like, so I would take that as a good thing, you know?
Yeah,
You know?
no, I'm saying, but if you get chosen for that, he tells you, don't worry, because I got
Yeah.
your back. I got your back.
Right. I'd be like, oh, you're choosing me you're going to do this to me because of this. Like, oh, man, you are in for it. Not from me. You know, I might be back, but someone's going to come get you. You know, like, good luck.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm going to watch this from the cloud over there in about, 2 years. Good luck. That's what I'm saying. I'd be talking crap. Be like, oh, God's going to come get you for that.
Yeah, right?
For real. Oh, goodness.
or resist. And ye shall be betrayed, both by parents and brethren and kinsfolks and friends. And some of you shall they cause to be put to death. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. But there shall not an hair of your head perish. In your patience possess ye your souls.
Do you want to add anything on those last couple there? Because there was, let me go back. Actually, let me just go over here. It's a little bit easier. Sorry, I thought I had it up. I had the NIV. Give me 1 second. So this is 20. That's what I thought. So yeah, it talks about how be betrayed by brethren, parents.
Hold on one second. I gotta keep talking.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, so it mentions how we're all gonna be betrayed by not just our parents, but people at work, friends, people you've been close with, and in some of those situations, and it's gonna call you to be put to death.
Yeah,
that's kind of intense. That's something.
What was interesting before
something
all
always
this,
you think about. Like, are you really in for it, or are people just, like, oh yeah, it's a good story and blah blah, but like, are you really in for it though? Like, are you in for this? Like, this isn't it's the good boat, but it's not really the fun boat right now. Like, we're in here for a reason. We came here to either A, get something, B, experience something, C, both, or in D, maybe even kick a little demon butt or something, because
wouldn't that be great?
I wouldn't put the all-stars in until it looked like all the chips were down. And I mean, the chips have never looked more down than now. Can you agree?
Absolutely.
That's that's why I kind of think we're here. And I'm definitely not perfect. I make mistakes every day. We all make mistakes, and it's just something we have to deal with and repent and try to move on and learn from our experiences. But it's just a crazy time to be put here, and I can only imagine having this much awareness and whatever inside of me if I was if it was like 50 years ago or 100 years ago, because what people think we're really materialistic now, but everyone was. They're pulling us into a virtual materialism, because back then it was newspapers. Now it's tablets.
Yeah.
It's always been around. Like that. What was that movie? They Live. RV's guy there.
Yeah, Roddy Piper. Someone put in the
exactly
chat.
right, and that movie was in the 80s. You know what I'm saying? Well before tablets and gadget wristwatch Apple phones and shit. So
They already had it.
Yeah, exactly. They just did it a different way. Like, because everyone's like, oh, but what happened to calling people on the telephone? It's like, what happened to having a conversation with someone, face to face? Never mind all the, like, oh, texting's bad. It's like, well, the whole telephone was bad. The black screens everywhere were always bad. Now they're just, really bad because they're plasma TVs for the most part.
Well, we know that it comes from the other side, the technology, and so
look at the logos.
When you have God that can see everything and know everything and be everywhere, and then you have the adversary who can't, provably has to walk around and stuff. So how's he going to get in everyone's homes at once? He can do demon possessions. That's one thing, or he can just get scion mirrors in everyone's faces, either at home or in their hand.
Yep. So. And everyone's always worried, like, with the camera on here and the camera and microphone on your phone. It's like, okay, the CIA and operatives, they might be listening, but like, sometimes I really feel like he and his minions and the fallen, they can they're listening to us right now.
Oh yeah,
we're talking about something that threatens their plan.
I've got
how many people are in the chat, but all these people in the chat, they're becoming aware. They don't like that. They don't like that one bit.
And that's the other thing. We give them way too much power because, again, there's only a third of them working. We got 2/3 on our side. And if you get yourself in a righteous position and something comes up against you, it bounces back against them. And it happens. Trust me, it happens fast. I've seen it just not too recently. It happens. It's pretty amazing. So, we need to harness that power.
Absolutely. The bombs you were talking about. Absolutely. But like you said, they there's only a third of them compared to the 2/3. But why people get like scared or give them feed into them or give them power is because they're clever. They got the ability to make it seem like there's only God and 7 angels. You know what I'm saying? That's how they've made it seem. And there's millions and billions of them. It's absolutely that's an abomination.
Sorry if I'm rude. My wife just came back with Thai food. I have to eat it. So
never had Thai food. Be honest with you.
Excellent.
Is it? I'll have to check that out then. But all right, I'm gonna hit play. You good?
And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto.
Okay, so question on this one. So there's this is why the Bible is so interpretive, because some things are about a thing, some things are about an idea, that kind of thing. So the one right before that, when what's the page right before that?
What's up, buddy? Oh, you want me to go back?
Go back one page. Yeah. So when you see Jerusalem compassed with armies, so sometimes Jerusalem is a place, and other times, it's actually a people. So I guess on this one, there could be interpretation either way. But it seems to me, originally when I read this, I thought of it as the place, and wondering if that's something that they're going to try to do, or is this the people being surrounded?
I would go with the place because just a few verses back, it's talking about the wars and the chatter of wars and So, I mean, because obviously there's going to be the great war above, but they're going to have to pull something very controlled, small scale, but make it seem like it's a cataclysmic event here on the surface. And I could see something happening in the Middle East. I could see some sort of deity or, official walking into an actual temple and causing something that would be technically an abomination of desolation. But, I think we all can agree that the temple of God it's me, it's you, it's waters above, it's everyone here in the chat. We are the temple of God, and they want to put something inside of you that causes an abomination that causes desolation, so that where
Correct.
God cannot dwell there no more. Imagine that something gets put inside of you or takes you over to the fact where God can't dwell in you no more. You know, I don't want to get too off topic, but I don't know if you remember that one story from that one person who got that one thing at the beginning of all this in the testing phases. She said she felt different. She felt like God left, whatever that's supposed to mean. So it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So
and whatever is true, because
but it could be,
yeah,
it could be something much more, but it could be both, because that's how they roll. They roll rolling this out on TV, or it could just happen in a Tyler Perry studio in Atlanta for all we know. You know what I'm saying?
It is true though, because wherever the truth in that lies, they have oh shoot, what were you just telling me? The the thing, whether or not they have this technology. I mean, they're doing something, because back in the beginning, they came down and they somehow mated with humans, and so as in the days of Noah, we're there again. So somehow they have a way, and I don't know what it is, but somehow they have a way of doing this. Now they tell us they have DNA and mRNA capabilities. Whether or not they do, we don't know, but they're telling us this. And I covered it just last Friday or the week before, I think. India just came out and announced that they're actively, supposedly, using a shot that has DNA changing in it, which would be more like a mark that would get rid of your God's DNA and create whatever the new world wants you to be. So whether they actually have that technology, I don't know, but India announced that they are starting testing with it. So
I feel like they do have this technology. I feel like they've actually had this technology, but what we're seeing right now are just introductions. This is basically locking up the stairs before you enter the hotel, if you want to call it that, because that's what it's going to be. And sorry, I just saw a comment that just got me sidetracked. Damn, what was I about to say? What were we just talking about? I had something and then it just went. Oh, damn!
Well, we're talking about this, the desolation, and we're talking about that.
Yeah.
No.
So yes, I don't think that what we have out right now, I think that's just like an intro step. But there are things that they do have that are real things that are being have been developed by CRISPR. I don't know if you know who those are, but they're a big company in this genetic modifying conversation that are not being brought up right now on any media platform, and they've been working on how to cure all diseases for years, and now out of nowhere we get introduced to this disease. So that makes me think that it's done. Their project's done. Think about it. Gordy Rosen stepped down from D-Wave until it was completely done. And then 2 years later, we see it up and running, all of last year. I feel like 2020 was just a D-Wave simulation. It happened for us in reality, but it was all just, it was being processed, and then now we're seeing the outcome. Now we're seeing them actually speed the process up, because it seems like no one gives a damn.
Well, it's like, it's almost in a way, you think of it as that game Tron, where the creator went inside the game and had to fight and play around with all the fakeness of the game. And so the way I look at this, however this game, this fakeness that we've been brought up in, God's world is on the other side of that, and so is he. And so that's the creator of the game. So if you make that connection, then you're bueno.
As they would say, you're bueno.
All right.
Boy. But isn't this interesting too?
Tell me.
Then let them which are in Judea. I don't know if these are good people or bad people, but where are they fleeing to?
Yep.
Fleeing to the mountains. And just a couple verses back, we're talking about the desolation of bricks or stone or something, I don't mean it like that, but a couple of minutes ago. All right,
No, yeah.
So I'm just going to hit play here. It should be the last couple, whatevers.
And let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. For there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people.
Yeah. Actually, no, we'll let this play, then we'll take it.
And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
All right, so let's bring it back one more here to 23. Yeah, so this is something that I've been stuck on even before I started getting into the Bible the last couple of years, I mean, I wouldn't bring someone into this existence. I had my speculations that something to the event or to the, to this, the whatever we call this is happening, whatever's happening right now. I had a strange feeling that something like this could happen, but I didn't think it was going to happen. But now it's happening, it happened, new normal. We're there, so I can only imagine what's next on the cards. And I see a lot of people I know from high school, just people I know from around. They have kids, 1, 2, whatever, and I'm like, oh man.
I guess what I see on this is,
the
2 children that he talks about are ones that really can't fend for themselves. They can't run or walk or anything at that point.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're a blessing, but a liability at that moment. You're really going to have to double your efforts. So he's saying to those people, watch out, because you're really going to have to be strong, because you got to take care of 2 people. Because if you had a child that's a little, what's that?
They'll be most vulnerable for, when those people come around looking for goods, you can call it, Yep. But I cut you off. You were saying something.
Oh, no, it's fine. Well, I have this whole thing about children, babies in particular. Anybody that has had a baby or, held a baby, it's like the new car smell. There's a new baby smell. And it's incredible. And people in the chat right now are thinking about it right now and know what I'm talking about. There's a smell that you get from an infant. It's beautiful. And my thought on it is this. Since God exists at all times at once, when you see a baby, that's the act of creation, correct? And so God literally just let go of that soul. So maybe, and this is just a wild conjecture, maybe that's the scent of creation of God himself is in those babies. Because we just had our grandson visiting here, and he's 20 months old, and he still has that scent. And I played a video more than once on here. I can find it. There were orbs in my house, and they were surrounding him. I got a video where he walks by, and there's 2 orbs, and he totally just tracks them with his eyes.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. So I'm thinking, just like, Jesus shows up and all the wise men, everyone go to see him. Babies, I think in general, maybe attract angels, spirits, whatever, to see him, because it's one of God's creations. They want to go check it out. It's an idea.
No, 100%. I like that. All right, and we captured this one too. We did this too. But I kind of forgot about that already. Well, yeah. But you're gonna say something, no?
Well, it's talking about let's see, the fall by the sword, the love of captivated in all nations, Jerusalem be trodden down. See, the time of the Gentiles, I believe, is when Jesus is here. Because prior to that,
before
they talked to when Jesus is here, the special people were called the Jews. But then when Jesus shows up, he's there for repentance, not from anybody that already knows God, from everyone that doesn't. And that's the Gentiles. And he talks to everyone, and we're all children of God. And there is no more special race anymore. There's one, children of God or not, period. That's it. So
absolutely. Okay. Cool.
trodden down of the Gentiles, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken.
All right. So let's bring it back to Luke 21:25 here. There'll be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars.
That's all the stuff we were showing earlier. You know, that kind of stuff.
It really is, man. And you know what's really funny? I never read this verse until like mid 2017, and that was the year that solar eclipse happened. That was also the year that Harvey storm happened as well. And it's just very interesting how they both happen in the same months, only days apart. The eclipse happened on the 21st, which would be, 21 down here, if you could see that. Mm-hmm. Very interesting part is how in the same month, Harvey made landfall at like 11:45 p.m. the night of the 25th, and it rolled right into the 26th, and this is the 26th verse. So I feel like 21, 25, and 26 all play a role, or all played roles into the great solar eclipse, followed by the harp, whatever, the juiced up hurricane that parked itself for 3 days, went out to sea twice, came back and ripped it up even some more. That was 11 months and 9 days or something like that to the whatever we were talking about. It's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Ridiculous. And a geostorm came out that year. Like, come on, man.
Right. They always show you in the movie too.
Right. Oh man. And they just rolled out geostorm in real life this year. Oh, it's really hot in Dubai. We're just gonna make it rain, wink, wink.
Yeah, they tell you, and they even told us that they were doing weather manipulation during, I think, the Vietnam or Korean War.
Right, but so it's like, why not make it rain over the West Coast when it's on fire for a couple days?
No, you're free thinking again. We're not supposed to do that.
My bad. Ridiculous. And this is an interesting verse here. Men's heart will fail them from fear. Like, honestly, those are going to be the lucky ones, because you don't want to be one of those dudes in Revelations who seek death and can't find it,
But this is actually happening right now. This virus is making people, die because they're deathly afraid of it. They won't go anywhere without a thing on their face or anything.
I was thinking more or less like people who don't know what fallen entities are and what they may or may not look like when they come back.
Oh, sure, that too. But
something like that. Yeah, you're done. Unfortunately, I may or may not have a decent idea of what they look like, so I may or may not be surprised. It's like, oh, okay, so that's him.
Well,
you gotta run.
I think no matter what happens, we're never going to be completely ready for whatever it is that's coming. However, we're going to be at least prepared, and by prepared meaning the second something like that's breaking down, we understand what's happening. And what does he say? Armor up in the full armor of God. That's what the second that happens, that's when you're like, okay, this is what I've been training for. Because this is a Karate Kid. We're training all this time for this final battle. And whether it's the first one or the second one, it doesn't matter. We're still fighting the same adversary, and Jesus is alongside with us. So either way, I'm good. Let's rock.
Let's get it. I like it. I like it.
Which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh.
My favorite passage there.
You like that? I like that one too.
That. I just
like
love
that
it.
one too.
That and the one right before that, where he says, "Where's the one right before?" Yeah. Wouldn't that be great? I can't wait for that. I can't wait. And I didn't even know who God or Jesus was just a few years back. And I can't wait for that. That's better than any Hanukkah, Christmas, whatever you want to call it. That's amazing. I can't wait for that.
It's gonna be interesting. In some parts of prophetic text in the Bible, it talks about how the sky recedes like a scroll.
Yeah.
I've always like hope I'm not just like driving on 91. It's like, like
that's what I'm saying. We're getting prepared, but we'll never be ready.
Right. Well, the thing is, I know it's coming soon. It's just like, oh man, like I hope I'm like inside that day because that's gonna be effed up.
I swear, every one of us thinks we live in the Truman Show, but if a giant like light fell down, like the solar thing fell down in my backyard, I'd be like, oh shit, you know what I mean?
Right. I would just like start running for all the bushes and just hitting them looking for cameras. Like, get out of here. Stop recording me,
Oh my God.
Oh goodness. All
right. Where are we at?
We were here.
Yeah, just hit from there. We're good. Oh wait, we'll go back.
And lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh.
Mm.
And he spake to them a parable. Behold the fig tree and all the trees.
Oh wait, you know what? Wait, back a second. Hang on a second before I get to this parable. Go back one more. It's interesting. He says, and when those things begin to pass, look up, lift up your heads, because we're all staring at our fucking phones. He's like, look up, lift your head up. We're all looking down.
Be ready.
We're all looking down. Everyone.
I
was told years ago, only two things look up: children and dogs. Most of the time, most people never look up, and especially now. So he's saying, hey, when these things are happening, look up. Right. What if you don't look up and he comes and goes like last time, Steve?
Yeah. Jeez. That would suck to be unready twice.
Oh, right. No, this time we're ready.
All right. You ready for the patented Jesus parable?
Yeah. Love it.
Love it.
Behold the fig tree and all the trees. When they now shoot forth, ye see and know of your own selves that summer is now nigh at hand. So likewise ye, when ye see these things come to pass, know ye that the kingdom of God is nigh at hand. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass away till all be fulfilled. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away.
I just like that verse, everything here kind of like, I'm not going to say doesn't mean anything because it does, because we're here to learn something. That's meaning. That's truth. That's life, but everything here is just gonna,
right,
go away. But the word, the word, God spoke everything into existence, that'll never go away.
Right. He even says, like I said, the book goes away or some way of it does.
Like you said, it gets written in our hearts as well, too. Yes.
Yeah. And I look at this as like we want to compare
another multi thing, but it's bringing us to the same light, which is good, Yeah.
And I compare everything to movies because I was raised on them. But so like in Harry Potter, right? They had the sorting hat in Harry Potter and it shows what place you're going to. And I feel all of our experiences here, good and bad, shape us to the character, the soul that we are. And those choices of our free will that we make at the crossroads every day of our life shapes us up to decide whether or not we want to hang out with God or not. And that's what this is about. And everything, when it's all done, he wraps up the training ground and we move on to wherever we're supposed to go now. This started out as being our home. Then it got all muffed up, as Jen says, and Satan took it over. So now he's going to clean house like he did the last time or however many times and take just the people that want to be with him, which makes sense to me. Why would you want people with you that don't like you?
Absolutely. All right.
Shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. And take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness and cares of this life, and so that day come upon you unawares. For as a snare shall it come on all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth. Watch ye therefore, and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man. And in the daytime he was teaching in the temple, and at night he went out and abode in the mount that is called the Mount of Olives. And all the people came early in the morning to him in the temple for to hear him.
That's it.
All right. Yeah, it is one of the shorter ones, but man, I just felt that there's so much in this that matches up exactly to what we're experiencing. And it's just another reminder to be aware of the spiritualness of this world and to be ready for anything that comes our way. That's what we're being trained for, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that, like, I mean, I feel like we're all guilty of it to an extent, but I'm guilty of it too, just letting little things that, we've all overcome through our process, some things like to creep back in your life. But in my opinion, that's just the adversary, as we called him earlier. That's just him trying to put another speed bump in the way, or try to bring you back into old habits. Because it's not like, it's not like I've met other people that I've never met before. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why is this happening again? It's like, oh yeah, because I shouldn't be doing this, and this other guy doesn't really want us doing good things, so probably shouldn't do it. So it's just something we all fall guilty. I feel to an extent. Some people worse, some people not as bad, and it's just something to be aware of and repent for. All you really got to do, guys, is ask for forgiveness. And I'm not going to say it's all, don't just, hey God, I'm sorry for X, Y, and Z, and it's not all good just like that. But if you make hard effort and repetitive repentance, and
well, he's got that saying, words without actions or actions without words. You need them both. You have to have both, and that's the thing. And the enemy, in fact, in here, just try to I don't care. I'm not a Christian. I don't say I'm anything anymore. I was born and raised Jewish, and I'm not that either. I'm just someone that found God on my own without the help of a book. I did my own. And then I decided to start looking into the book because he gave us that as a tool to learn from. And so if someone in the chat doesn't like that or that particular book, go read a different book. It's fine. I try to read everything. I've read in the Quran. I've read the different versions of the Bibles. I've got some of the lost texts and Enoch. There are people that get triggered just from reading things. And I say, how can you get triggered from knowledge? And if you find that you're finding poor information, you drop it and you go somewhere else, just like anything else. So it's unfortunate. This is just to be a discussion. And I know I'm not talking to anyone, just one person, but it's an idea to be disruptive and then not even talk about what's going on in the show. So it's another way that the devil, brambles and thorns, can get at us through fake Christians or whatever. And if he's a God-fearing Christian, wonderful. He's my partner. He's not my enemy. But you come in here and blow things up. It's not necessary. That's the way I see it. So.
No, absolutely. And I was going to mention something, but you made too many good points there. No. you follow up on that.
I was hoping you do a rant and I could have another bite, but go ahead.
Oh goodness! Oh man! I mean, it's just the time we live in, and look where we are. And like we were saying before, we were all put here for a reason, and I feel like. How would I put this? Like, knowledge without reason is, kind of worthless, if you know what I'm saying. Like, we're here for a reason. We might as well, crack open not just the Bible, but, other books. And, like not the Talmud, I'm sorry, the Torah. The Torah is probably isn't bad. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion.
Well, the Torah is the first part of the Bible. That's what I used to read.
Yeah. So it's just straight up. Yeah. It ain't crazy, but you get all those like Talmudic texts and it's like, oh, like these guys, they got some thing going on with this like square circle, and that's not cool, Well, like for instance, I'm reading the Bible and there's some story where these I don't know, Jewish guys, children or whatever, they get attacked, whatever happened. I forget the story right now off the top of my head, but the important part is
they shave off their beards. And so, God tells them to basically hide away until it grows back. And I read that and I'm like, yeah, I'm not fine buying that. That sounds more of a religious doctrine than God would care if you had a beard or not. You know what I mean? And it's like, the one story about hair is Samson, and it's the hair on his head that was never cut. And that's how he had all his strength. But he was one specific dude. They don't talk about anybody else having that. And so cutting your beard and facial hair, I don't know. Maybe that gives you more antenna. I don't know. But the some of those stories, that's where I say, I read the Bible. I don't really need that. Doesn't give me any information. I move on. But then you hit a passage like we just read. It's like, oh, God, you better listen to everything in that one. So
get your notebooks out.
Right? And so that's why I truly believe. Again, I'll say this to anyone that's listening that's upset with, this particular version of the Bible. The God I believe in that created everything, time and space and matter and humans and including myself,
math.
I believe somehow he could figure a way to keep his living word in this book. Shockingly, I think my God is able to do that. And so that's what I read it, is because even though I know there's weird stuff in there, there's a lot of good stuff still that he puts in there. So.
Absolutely. It looked like we had the same Bible, but we're close.
Oh, really? Yeah. And who wrote the Bible? So God's word was written in there. A lot of people have written it and rewritten it. The books and the words in this page are written by a man, but the actual events and things that happened, no, that happened. At least in my mind, that's what I believe. And so I don't get caught up in that,
Yeah, and like I was saying, I don't know if it was last week or a couple weeks ago, just because it says King James, who even knows if this guy even existed? You know what I'm saying? It could have just been putting that on there just to mess with us, 600 years later or whatever. It's like, oh, this is going to piss them off then because we have the crystal ball. They don't need that no more. They got D-Wave and all that other good stuff, so.
All he had to do was just stamp a cover page and call it good, right?
There it is,
Yeah, that could be. So, well, all right. Well, unless there's any questions, and Polar Eclipse doesn't believe in the Bible, that's okay. Like I said, I've made my relationship with the Creator without it. I just believe it's helpful. And for me, it's really helpful. I've asked a question, and then either my app has shown me a passage the next day, or I randomly like to just open a page and then I'll start reading it. And sure hell, if it doesn't answer the question I'm asking. So I don't know, Bear Eclipse, but for me, or Polar Eclipse, for me, it's helpful and useful. And I don't know of another book on my shelf back there that I could pick up right now. There's no Tom Clancy book that I could look and go, wow, that's happening in my life. And it really answered the question I wanted. But this one, written by I don't know who, this one helps me all the time. So that's the way I feel about that.
Nah, it's good stuff, man. It's good stuff.
But as I always say, your results may vary. But on this one, I don't think they will. Right? You ask and you knock and you open the door and he comes in. How easy is that? You can't get it any easier.
Right. Like I always say, you don't got to get a salt circle. You don't got to have a D-Wave. You don't have to have CERN or ITER. You just hey.
Oh my God, I used to watch Supernatural and they draw sigils on the wall and do salt and blood rituals. And no, with God, he's already there waiting. Just open the damn door.
Right. He can't answer your prayers if they don't pray, if no one's praying,
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. Well, I'm good with today. If you guys enjoyed it, let's do it again.
Absolutely.
And,
this was awesome.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Someone asked, we have a question. Let me look. What does this say?
Matthew 24 and Luke 24. I'm going to skim Matthew 24 real quick.
Pull it back up on the screen and we can see. We'll see. We'll see. See, that's the thing. I like Steve, I recognize passages. I don't necessarily know them by heart, the numbers and names and stuff. Is that Matthew 24? Or we'll get your books out. Matthew 24. Is there something specific? Who was it that you were thinking of, Jennifer? That you mentioned this passage? Was there something specific?
I mean, the first couple are very interesting, very similar. I mean, you got people come in their name saying, "I am Christ," blah blah.
Yeah. Well, he's another. What do you call it? Another disciple.
Look at this: earthquakes, famines. These are the beginnings of sorrows. Yes, this is actually one of my other favorite little books. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's covering the exact. He must have been. I'm thinking at the same time that he was speaking,
similar
recounting the exact thing, right?
Yeah, look. Yeah, then they'll be fleeing from Judea into the mountains.
Yeah, this exactly covers Luke 21. Look at that.
Wow. False prophets. Wow. Yep.
Yeah, so it's two people listening to the same thing and writing it down or reciting it.
Yep. The same thing with the children. Woe unto those. Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Pretty much just one of those things that in another secondhand account, and there's a third and fourth hand probably in Luke. I mean, not Luke, and Mark and John. Definitely John. John's a good one. We gotta tackle John. I'll do John cover. I like John.
Joanna says the Mark 13 is also connected. So yeah.
Look at this. So this is awesome right here. For as lightning cometh out the east and shineth even into the west, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. Because I thought this was like a similar verse, because we were talking about how, in the previous book we were just reading, how the Son of Man will come like light clouds in the sky or something. And in my head, I was like, didn't it say? I thought it said something about lightning, and because I could see that. You're just hanging out and just. What you think is a lightning bolt is just, Jesus just split in the sky or something, like that would be
right.
Nuts. Look at this. He's talking about the old fig tree again. See, this is crazy. So yeah, she's onto something.
Yeah.
A little bit longer, but yeah, talking about your sorrows and, going through tribulations. Wow. Yeah. So she's not lying. He's not wrong. Good stuff.
Yeah, and interesting. I forgot. Let me pull this up real quick.
It's confirmation. Yes.
You were talking about lightning, and one of the things that I had filmed was this lightning storm. We were at visiting friends, and let's see. Can you see it? Am I sharing?
Yeah, you're up.
And I'm going to try to pause it when it gets to this cool part. All right.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so now look at that in slow motion, though. It's pretty wild what happens. So first you get this. There's like a light source that's over here almost. I'm going to go slow here. And it gets brighter. And then it fills the sky above. So it seems like it starts down here.
It's meeting something,
and then goes right, and then you get this. Where'd it go? Right there. It's hard to get that frame. Look at that.
What is that?
I don't know. So first you get it down here, then you get it together, then you get those sticks right there, and then after that it goes bright flash again, and then you get a single stick. And then it kind of just fades out. And then you get this, like Aurora Borealis kind of stuff. And then another bright white light.
That's nuts. We should do just a whole show of just signs from the sun, moon, and stars, in our opinion,
Yeah. I've seen different color lightning, too. Have you seen there's like been blue lightning and purple
pink,
lightning?
Blue, purple, red. Sorry, I don't swear. Yeah.
And I'm 55, and when I was growing up, none of this ever happened. But if you bring it up today,
yellowish, a little white baby.
They bring it up today. It's like, oh well, you don't know science. It's the atmosphere and it's the electrical charge of the pions and the ions, and whatever. How come I never saw it my whole life until now?
The only time I ever heard about blue lightning was Zeus. It was a myth, but I bet they found his temple too, like Osiris and Nimrod.
Well, you and I have a theory that Zeus could be Washington, though, because he always seems
he could be all of those people that I just mentioned.
Apollo, all those, yeah. Fantastic. All right. Well,
maybe, but yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we did a good breakdown. We'll try a different one next week. If God willing, you guys are enjoying it. We'll do it again. If anybody has a specific thing, I mean, otherwise Steve and I just kind of choose. But if you have any questions if you have questions or something you want us to look into, put in the comments or send us an email. You got Steve's, or you got mine, or put in the comment of this video. It'll be up on YouTube and also on Rockfin. So, you have anything more, Steve?
No. I was just thinking, next time, if everyone just puts them on in the comments, I can just copy and paste them. If you got questions or suggestions, I'll put them in the private chat and we can, discuss, beforehand. Like, say someone has some, or I can, I can email them to you, and we can, get something going for next week if a couple people have the same verse or whatever. So we can, put them in the comments, and I'll check in on them in a couple days, and we'll sort them out for sure. And the questions we can just copy and paste and put them on a blank page and just get to those in due time.
Absolutely,
because that'd be a good show
great.
if we just took questions all night. Some from the chat. Maybe if we had like the join, like you give them the link or whatever. That'd be cool. Just straight questions and whatever. I got questions too for the chat, so don't think you're just getting off with me.
Well, okay, so I'll tell you what. So last thing I always like to do, I'll end with a prayer, and then I have no outro still. I haven't worked on it. I'll play the intro a little bit. I'll put the intro on again, so that way if they want to, that way they can talk in the chat until the show's over. It goes for a couple minutes. So anyways, I'd just like to, dear Father, Heavenly Creator, you insert whatever name you feel comfortable there. Dear Father, please watch over us and continue to guide us through these times. Fill us with the Holy Spirit and fill us with the knowledge, the wisdom, the faith, and the love that we need to carry ourselves and as many others as we can to bring home as many of your children as we can. Thank you in the name of Jesus. Thank you, Steve.
I wish I could pray like that.
It just comes out of my head. I don't know. Hopefully it sounds good.
Oh, man, yeah, that's awesome.
Well, I'll tell you one secret that I do every time before I go on this show, and I don't know if it works, but I ask God to just speak through me, and hopefully anything that comes out of my mouth.
I do that sometimes too. It's great.
Yeah. So, and don't forget to pray over your food. Don't forget to bless your food.
I need a butler for all this.
All right, everyone. Love you all, and that's it. And we'll see you, God willing, next week. So take care.
Absolutely.